Tate McRae in the flesh at Hits 1 LA with Tony Fly and Simon. Album release day. I Used to Think I Could Fly is out. How does it feel?
Whew. I mean, wow, I'm honestly so happy. It's like such a relief. I feel like I've been sitting on these songs for like forever. And yeah, it just like feels weird. I feel like the release day is always just like, you got to get it over with and then you'll be fine.
So I used to think I could fly.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
So honestly, I was kind of infatuated with the idea of, I think a lot was changing this year as I started writing this album. And I just came to a lot of realizations. And, I was thinking about when you're younger, how you have this perception of the world with no filter on it yet because no one's affected you or left any mark on you yet. So, like other people's insecurities lay onto you and other people's fears lay onto you. And as you grow up, what you go through, your situations, your relationships, the people that you meet, all shape who you are today. And I feel like as I'm like getting older and I'm just like realizing a whole bunch of things, like why am I scared of heights? Because my mom told me she was scared of heights when I was like 7 years old. And I just thought it was a very cool concept talking about relationships and everything I was going through for my first ever album.
So do you not think you can fly now?
No.
To us, you're flying right now,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I don't know. I feel like not to be dark or anything, but it is kind of like a dark like album concept, and I feel like I talk about that a lot in my songs, and it's kind of like my therapy and my outlet is like all my writing. So it is a bit of a dark concept.
It's a beautiful album. Seriously, congratulations. I've listened to it like 6 times already,
Oh.
from front to back, and it was very interesting hearing your intro. You say you grow up, you lose friends, and you're suddenly afraid of things you never were before. What are some of those things? And do you feel like since you've came into fame that it's harder to have real friends?
I feel like, it is a little difficult. Just honestly in this industry period, because you just like never know what people want, or I feel like it's very funny because I'm a very like nice person. I will walk into a room and I'll like literally assume the best in every person, and I'll see only the amazing things. And I think sometimes that quality can just be like used sometimes in a person. And that's honestly what I meant as I think I got shocked even moving out and meeting new friends and meeting new people. I was like, oh, I'm like pretty naive to like, some people, which is crazy to think about.
Well, since you brought up the intro, can we talk about the first song after the intro? Don't Come Back?
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
Let's tell everybody about it.
So this is an interpolation of Nelly's song "Ride with Me," which is so sad.
Is that like a favorite song of yours? Where does that come from? How did that song become your song?
Well, I hadn't even like listened to that song in forever, and I just remember this guy and Charlie Handsome, this producer. We were writing a whole bunch of songs, like just like throwing out a whole bunch of ideas. He was playing guitar, and we sometimes when you're just like in a room and you're like bored, you just like sing old songs and over top of it. And we started singing like "Ride with Me" over this like guitar loop, and I was like, this would be so crazy if we flipped this.
How many writers are on it? Like 30?
Well, we wrote the song just the two of us,
right?
And then we obviously had to credit everyone in the world.
Okay, so what was the process like putting this album together?
The process was very chaotic. I worked with a lot of different people, and honestly, at the end of the day, all the songs that I ended up choosing were literally just either written by myself or written with like one other person. And I think it was really crazy because I was going through a lot mentally, and I felt like I was going through a lot of changes, and I had no idea how to write about them until I would find like the perfect song to write about them. So I'd write like 70 songs, and by the end, obviously we only had 13 or 12. So it was a very chaotic process and very therapeutic.
Talking about like writing with specific people, I love the song Hate Myself. Whoa.
Thank you.
So you wrote that with Alexander 23.
Yeah.
And Charlie Puth, right?
Yeah. So I wrote this, basically we started this idea in a room. Charlie put down like this like guitar, and we didn't write any lyrics this day because I was in a horrible mood.
So making a song with Charlie, is it like it is on his TikTok? It's like, okay, now we're going to put down a drum track. Here's a drum track.
Oh, he's a psychopath. Literally. This man cannot go like 2 seconds without either like telling you what key you're speaking in or like playing on a piano. I don't know. He's crazy. So he starts playing down these guitar or whatever chords, We couldn't write anything the first day, so we just like left it. The next day, I just went through a breakup. I like literally this day I go through a breakup and Blake calls me. He goes, "You're coming over right now." And I was like, no, like I'm a disaster. I cannot write a song right now. And he was like, "You're doing it." So I walked over to his house and it was like 11 p.m. at night and I was sobbing and writing this song, talking about this breakup. And it was just the two of us in the room and we wrote all of the lyrics and wrote everything and then obviously finished it. You can like kind of hear my voice cracking on the record,
I was just
which
gonna
is
say,
kind of cool.
I feel like you're crying in it. It all makes sense.
There's in the bridge, which I feel like is like the most heart-wrenching part, like just brutal. I was literally at the booth like crying because it had just happened like hours before.
How long were you in this relationship for?
A year and a half. It was hard. I think it was just like a lot going on at once, and I had no idea how to talk about it. And that song was like very, very real.
Yeah.
Well, I hate that person now.
Don't hate him.
But in the chorus, you say, "Oh, I didn't think this over, fell back when you got closer. After I just put you right through hell. You couldn't hate me more than I hate myself." Is that how you felt? Did you feel very like you were being selfish in the relationship?
No, I feel like what I've like realized is what I do is like if someone were to leave my life or someone were to walk out or something, I would literally just like look back and blame at me for everything. I think that's like my fault in a relationship is I'll take all the blame and I'll be like, "I'm sorry, I'm whatever," and I'll always like put it back on me. And I do this thing where like if I really really care about people, I'll like push them away a bit. And I think that's what I was meaning in the song is like I'm trying to like not hurt myself, so I push people away and try to make it a lot easier. But it ends up like, you know, obviously making people that you love not close to you.
And it ends up like hurting you worse because you are blocking your feelings.
Right, and I think that's what I tend to do a lot is like shut off and just like keep my head forward and not focus on the things that hurt. And when you feel like you're pushing people away and you know you're doing it, but it's like you can't help it, and you know that they're gonna go off and be super happy with someone else, like that's the most painful thing in the world when you still love someone.
Has he reached out to you today to say congratulations?
He has actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really nice.
How'd that make you feel?
I mean, it's a lot. I think relationships, they're just a whole thing that messes with your head, and I think when there's so much going on, it's like I don't even know how to process half of it.
Let's talk about a happy moment.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
What was the happiest thing that happened on this album? The happiest moment.
Me and Simon are getting super deep.
Yeah, because I know she's about to start crying.
I'm crying already.
Yeah.
My
You're-
hormones.
You're wearing the sunglasses, so you'll be able to hide it, but she'll be a wreck in about 5 minutes.
Right. The happiest moment. Well, there were a lot of really, really cool moments writing this record. I think there was this one song called "What Would You Do," and
We love it.
Yeah.
We
So good.
love it. And that's also a Charlie.
It was a Charlie. So this was so fun because me and Alex were hanging out. He was like, "Hey, can we go hang out with Charlie?" And I was like, "Sure." We go over to Charlie's studio. Obviously, like, Charlie literally can't shut up on the piano and the guitar and everything. He's like playing every instrument in the room. And so we all start like singing. We start writing this song. It ends up going like super late. We call our friend Blake over and we're like, "You need to produce this song. Like, this is gonna be sick." And it was so crazy because I just like Charlie's like brain works like a mile a minute, and we were just having like the best time ever. And I remember we were writing this bridge, and it was so fun because we were all sitting on this one couch, just like throwing out all these ideas of like what you would do to like to like really hurt someone, to like get them back and, you know, put them in your shoes. And I remember like Charlie was like, "Ah," he like screamed. He was like, "Oh my God, I just got full goosebumps." And we all were like, it was just like one of those moments where like you're like, music is so fun, and creating music with your friends is like the best thing in the world.
Where did you write most of the album?
So I wrote most of the album like all over the place. Different studios. Some in a few of them were started in my apartment. I'd like start all the ideas in my piano and then I'd take them to the studio, but it was everywhere.
Do you come up with melodies first or more like chords?
I kind of freestyle. Like I'll someone will play like a guitar loop or a piano, and I'll like go into the booth like a rapper.
Like Nelly. like that Nelly song.
Like that Nelly song. And I just start freestyling, and if something comes out of my subconscious and you know I have an idea that I want to talk about, then we'll start fitting the lyrics in.
Do you realize that you have a Tateism that like is so strong on like every song?
Do I?
Your ooze?
Yeah, your oohs are very you.
I can't, wait, can we do it? Can you teach us?
What's my ooh?
How am I gonna learn how to do that ooh?
I'm excited to hear this.
All those.
Oh, like all my ad libs?
Oh yeah, they're so specific
They're
and so Tate.
They're so specific. I do the same ad lib every time.
But it's smart because it's like that's Tate.
Like my signature.
Just like
I
Charlie
love
Puth.
it.
Just like Charlie Puth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does do that in all his songs.
And yours is
My oohs.
the oohs.
Wow, I have a signature ooh.
Said it right here
Oh
on
my
Hits
God.
1. You do.
I love that.
It's so good.
Thank you.
Okay, Tate, you have been booked and busy. Like every day you're like either in Venice or you're here. What was your favorite place you toured?
Wow. Honestly, one of my favorite cities to go is Amsterdam. It was insane. These fans were psycho. Literally all of Europe was just like crazy fans that I've never experienced before. Like at one point in Milan, I was on stage and I had just finished a song and I was like taking a water break, and in these like one second that I was like not speaking, the entire crowd starts like singing to me. And it was a song that I didn't know. They were just like singing "You're Beautiful."
Oh wow.
Like all in this huge like choir, and I'm like, I've never seen something like this. Like at a concert when the crowd starts singing.
It's like a soccer match. You know, they were cheering you on, just cheering
Right.
you and your water on.
It was wild. Just so many different experiences, like all over the world. It was a pretty surreal experience, and getting to actually feel like real fans for like technically the first time was wild.
Do you get emotional seeing them sing your song?
So
back to you?
emotional. I mean, yeah, it's hard not to cry when they're all holding up. They all do this thing where they'll do like little fan projects where they'll go in the line and hand out posters to every single person, and then it's some song where it's like super emotional. They'll all put up this one sign.
Oh.
And it's like, you saved us, or like, you made it, or like, the stuff that would just absolutely crush
They're
you.
just trying to make you cry on stage.
I'm crying.
They're just,
Oh my God, I need glasses. That's so nice.
just trying to crush you, and it's pretty crazy.
Oh my God. What's next?
So I leave for the UK in a week, and I'm so excited. I have that tour, and then I have Australian tour right after, which is so wild. They're both sold out. I think Australia sold out in 2 minutes, my manager said. The entire tour.
That's got to be so wild, to a place so far away where you're not from. There's no family there. You don't know.
It's wild because I'm like, to think about people across the world knowing my songs, to even think about anyone knowing my songs is like, I can't even like think about it. I can't even process it. So it's like so cool. You go to foreign places and people, know your music. That's like very, very, very dreamy.
Like when you go, like what you were saying, you performed in Milan.
Yeah.
You're backstage waiting to go on stage.
Yeah.
Whoever is opening up for you or whatever, or there's an announcer and you hear them announcing Italian words and saying, go get your stuff because Tate McRae's going to be out here in a minute here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're the first English word that happens and everyone loses their mind.
Yeah, I know. It's so wild. It doesn't even, I don't know. This job is so weird.
Isn't it?
It's so weird.
Unbelievable. When you look back at your life when your first single came out
Mhm.
versus today, album release day, what's the biggest change in your life?
My whole life was flipped over. I mean, when I first released a song, it was like I didn't even consider myself a singer. Like I put it out on TuneCore with my mom, and I remember I was like, should I make the cover art? And I made it on like Instagram story.
Wow.
Like I literally made it on my own. I put the text over it and we just like uploaded it. And I remember I was like, this is so fun. And then, like now to think that just like the feeling of releasing a debut album and the feeling that like, people are listening and tweeting and just like, I don't know.
And so much thought goes into it now. And so
I know.
many people. Like,
Yeah,
you're not doing the cover art. You probably don't even know who did the cover art. And
It's
there
a team.
there was a meeting and there was a lot of discussion going back and forth. And
Creative.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you guys talk about in these meetings? I mean, there's only so much about me that you can know.
You're like, I used to do this on my IG
I
in 2
can,
seconds.
I can get on Instagram stories and just make one real quick.
Mom, you want me to do it?
We can all go home.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's very, 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 very wild. It feels like a dream.
Well, Tate, it's so nice to see you in person. We have this Zoom relationship we've had for years now.
Yeah.
We've seen that you're much taller in person.
Right.
You're hot AF.
Yeah.
You're stunning.
So are you.
No.
Oh my God.
No, you are so beautiful. And you know how you were saying that, like, you walk in and sometimes you feel like you trust people too much?
Uh-huh.
I think it's a beautiful quality you have.
Yeah.
Don't
Thank
lose
you.
it.
Thank you.
Maybe
Appreciate that.
But-
put those fences up for some people.
but-
For some people.
But keep
Not
your
you-
eyes
not you
open.
guys.
Keep your eyes open though.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, open your heart. You're like, okay, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. In this room, you can open
Just
your
a
heart.
little bit.
But once you get out there,
Be
it's
careful.
a dog eat dog out there.
Right. Scary world.
Close that up.
All right, Tate McRae, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.